Hi, I'm Jérémy.
And I'm Ben.
Together with 15 Degrees North.
Today we're going to show you the sights and sounds of Transylvania. Transylvania is a large region in the centre of Romania, which, let's face it, is famous internationally for one reason only: vampires.
And our decision to visit at the end of October might have been slightly influenced by our urge to trace Count Dracula's footsteps. But we also wanted to explore the castles and landscape that make this one of the most picturesque historic regions of Europe.
We start our visit in Sibiu, which is a gorgeous city with a preserved old town typical of the region.
Transylvania has never actually been an independent country, but instead has been absorbed by various empires, including the Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, and even the Bulgarian Empire.
It's Transylvania's castles that really make it stand out.
Corvin Castle is one of its finest, sitting on the western edge of the region.
A Renaissance Gothic structure built in the 15th century, this was the home of John Hunyadi, who served as regent for an infant Hungarian monarch, Matthias Corvinus, after whom the castle is named.
The nearby prince of Wallachia, Vlad III, or as is now known, Vlad the Impaler, turned the Hunyadi for help in a revolt against the occupying Saxon, but this response was to imprison him instead.
And this is what you come to Transylvania to see, its remarkable castles. And there's definitely a style about them that just feels so very unique and atmospheric. And at the moment I'm not getting vampire vibes, but I'm fairly sure that once we get closer and closer to Bran Castle, maybe I'll start seeing some vampires lurking in the shadows.
Vlad came from a small town, Sighisoara, which is the next stop on our tour.
Vlad's father, Vlad the Dragon, owned a house on the town square where he lived for several years.
The word dragon, when translated into Romanian, is Dracul, and the son of the dragon became known as Dracula.
The word also means devil, so you can see why Bram Stoker was so attracted to the name for his titular vampire.
The town itself is quaint enough, but it's the legacy of its most famous son that hangs over its reputation.
Vlad Sr. seized power to become Prince of Wallachia when his son was still a child, but when he was later assassinated, the King of Hungary gave the throne to Vlad Jr.'s cousin, who was also called Vlad.
There are a lot of Vlads in this history.
Quite. So cousin Vlad seized power from Daddy Vlad, but Vlad the Younger wanted cousin Vlad to give him his birthright, so they Vladed back and forth for quite some time.
So where does all the impaling come in?
Well, many of the people living in Wallachia and Transylvania were Saxons, and they supported cousin Vlad, plus our Vlad's half-brother, who was also called Vlad.
Great, you just could not write this.
Were you scared?
A little bit.
Admit it, you were really scared.
I put my pants.
I wondered what that smell was. So Vlad punished the supporters of Vlad and Vlad, forcing them to choose between Vlad, Vlad, or Vlad. The people chose the wrong Vlad, and so, well, he impaled them.
I'll wager that at least 1% got their Vlads mixed up.
Add to that all the Ottomans he impaled when they tried to invade, and our Vlad got quite the reputation, particularly amongst the Saxons.
So news travelled back to Germany of this vicious warlord who was impaling thousands of people, and suddenly his cruelty became associated with pure evil.
And what of the other Vlads?
Well, they impaled nobody, so they lost.
So the message to take from this is, one must impale to become top Vlad.
Exactly.
So, where does Bram Stoker come into all of this?
Well, Bram Stoker was an English writer, and in 1897 he wrote about a vampire living in Transylvanian castle called Dracula.
He's there, hiding somewhere inside that castle. So what? He travelled to Transylvania and was so bewitched by the area's gothic atmosphere that he decided that it was the perfect place to set his story?
No, he actually never went to Romania, and apparently he just read about Transylvania when he was on holiday in Whitby.
So, why does Bran Castle market itself as Dracula's castle then? There are literally signs everywhere that link the castle to him, and people queue in long theme park style lines to visit because they all think it's his castle. I mean, we waited for an hour to get inside.
Well, it's because people want it to be Castle Dracula.
Come again?
Well, it looks like what people imagine Castle Dracula to look like. It sits on a rocky hill with big gothic towers against the skyline, plus Vlad the Impaler
Lived there?
He may have stayed there once.
So this has all come from the fan fiction imaginations of overactive fanboys?
Well, yeah, pretty much.
The capital of Transylvania is Brasov.
Despite its location on the edge of the Carpathian Mountain, it's actually a pretty big city and has been a significant trading hub since the medieval times.
Today, it has a beautifully preserved old town and has become synonymous with people following the trail of Dracula.
Situated only a short drive from Bran Castle, this is where most people choose to stay when they come to get the full Transylvanian experience.
It has all the amenities you would expect.
Plus, it's very pretty too.
In the years prior to World War II, there were around 800,000 Jews living in Romania.
Nowadays, there are only 8,000, a drop of 99%.
Brasov Synagogue is a rare reminder that this area of Eastern Europe was once a thriving Jewish community, which was completely decimated by the Holocaust.
Transylvania has inspired the entirety of the vampire genre, with many films and TV shows shot here or inspired by it.
The aesthetic of Gothic horror is synonymous with the region, so it's hardly any surprise that it all looks, well, pretty familiar.
The animated movie, Hotel Transylvania, was all shot here, right?
I'm afraid that's not how animation works, but Netflix's smash hit adaptation of The Addams Family, Wednesday, was shot right
But
here.
it's Tuesday.
No. What day is it?
It's Tuesday.
No. Wednesday. This is the Wednesday Castle. It's Wednesday.
But it's Tuesday.
After refueling on amazing Romanian food, we decided to head to the Transfagarasan Highway.
This mountain pass is renowned as one of the most scenic drives in the world. However, it is only open seasonally, which we discovered because we arrived the very day that it had just closed for the winter.
Thankfully, you can still see the highway via the Transfagarasan Cableway, which takes you up into the mountains and over the twists and turns of this truly remarkable road.
The higher we got, the clearer it became when the road has been shut for the winter, because by the time we got to the summit, the area was really deep in snow.
It was really quite peculiar to be in the throes of autumn at the bottom of the mountain, but then step out of the cable car
Telecabin.
to have lost 15 degrees and be surrounded by deep snow.
We were wandering around in trainers and flimsy autumn jackets, so we weren't particularly prepared for the cold.
But thankfully, there are several restaurants at the top where you can have some soup and a coffee to warm you up. Our Romanian friend warned us that maybe the road would be closed.
Yes.
And he said, oh, maybe there's going to be some snow.
Not this much. It's not what I expected.
It's not what we were expecting.
It's winter.
It's October here, and yeah, but I can see now why
I love it though.
it's a little wonderland.
gorgeous.
We couldn't actually believe it as the cable car arrived, and it was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, winter has arrived.
It's cold.
We felt like we had been thrown into a winter wonderland.
We really enjoyed seeing the Transfagarasan Highway, but we enjoyed even more being ejected into a snowdrift.
Later across the Transylvanian countryside is a unique UNESCO World Heritage Site.
The fortified Saxon churches of Transylvania were built in the Middle Ages, and 150 of them survive to this day.
7 of these has been restored to their former glory, which includes the villages of Biertan
Where we are now,
and Viscri.
where we headed next.
They were built when the area was part of the Kingdom of Hungary, but the Ottoman Empire was rising and conquering swath of the Central Balkans.
Subsequently, fortresses were built around the churches to protect them from any potential raids, as well as providing safety for the Saxons who lived there.
The fact that all these villages ended up fortified does give the impression that this really is a land of castles.
The perfect place for a vampire to live, don't you think?
In the west, you can also visit a disused salt mine, which they filled with all sorts of activities for the family to enjoy.
I feel a little bit like Hades crossing the River Styx.
Is that how you feel?
Yes, it's a weird subterranean little world down here. final stop in Transylvania is Sinaia, which feels vastly different from the rest of Romania.
Sinaia is high in the mountains and is nowadays surrounded by ski resorts.
In the late 19th century, this was the perfect summer escape for the local nobility, who would come and stay in their stately mountain homes to escape the scorching summer heat.
Subsequently, there are mentioned churches and monasteries aplenty here, which reminded me greatly of the aristocratic town of Sintra in Portugal.
And just like in Sintra, the centrepiece of this picturesque town is a royal palace.
Peles Castle was built for the King Carol I and opened in 1883.
Romania's monarchy was short-lived because Carol was the country's very first king, ascending to the throne when Romania first became independent from the Ottoman Empire.
There were only ever 3 kings, as the final one, Michel I, had to abdicate in 1947 after the rise to power of the communists.
However, the castle still remains the property of the deposed royal family. Nowadays, the family is held in high regard, but hold no power within the country.
So we could not recommend Transylvania enough.
Whether it's castles, mountains, or vampires you're hunting, you'll definitely find it here.
And probably a bear too.